All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. We've got some more to talk about with Julian Neal, part 2. We're talking about the traits. What does he bring to the table that's good? What does he bring to the table that needs improvement? What is he maybe never going to be all that good at? You guys know the drill by now. Let's get into it. Julian Neal, the outside corner, maybe with a future in safety, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right, so the pros with Julian Neal are mostly pretty obvious in my mind because you look at him and you immediately get an idea of what he's all about. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. Yeah, Julian Neal is all about how big he is. He is tall, he is heavy, he has long arms, he even has big hands. So whatever you want to talk about with him, it's all about those measurables. So that is the main thing he brings to the table here. He is a big, lanky, long outside corner. Again, the kind of corner that Pete Carroll would have really liked once upon a time, and the kind of corner that we can still have an appreciation for now because their size does give them advantages that other corners do not have. And on top of being big, he's also strong, and he's willing to use that strength to push receivers around. He can match up well with tight ends as well because of his size. If you get him one-on-one against somebody like a Trey McBride or a George Kittle, he's not going to be completely overwhelmed. He's going to actually be able to hang in there. You get him on a guy like a Mike Evans. Mike Evans is not just going to physically dominate him because he actually has comparable size to a Mike Evans. He's not as big, but he can at least hang with him, unlike somebody like a Devin Witherspoon. And that strength also lends itself well to press, although I have more to say about that a little bit later in this video. He should be an effective press corner at some point. He's also very willing to get involved to stop the run and make tough tackles. So, excuse me one second. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cough this morning, a little bit of a frog in my throat. But yeah, he's very willing to be a good tackler. He's very willing to come up against the run and make effective tackles. That is one of the strengths of his game. That might be the strength of his game right now. Very good run defender. And that will be an area where you really notice the improvement that he is over Reek Woolen. He won't be an immediate improvement in every area, obviously, but that area, yes. And he also gets physical at the catch point. If he can stick into tight coverage with a receiver and be in the vicinity, that length and the physicalness that he plays with will allow him to make a lot of balls hit the ground. He is very physical at the catch point, very hard to defeat him there and finish the catch. He can work through blockers as well. This is not somebody that will get stuck on blockers. This is someone who can shed. This is somebody who can outmuscle. And this is somebody who can get blocked and still actually go make a play on the ball carrier. So unlike somebody like a Bud Clark, who we talked about yesterday, this is somebody that will bring that physicality to the table in a way that as an offense, you can do everything right and still just lose because he's able to defeat the block. So there's some physicalness there as well. He only really played like 2 years in college, and one of those years was not even a full year. So that means he's raw, and that means he should make big improvements. Normally, you would look at a guy like this and say, hey, he's 23. He's pretty close to a finished product. Julian Neal is not anywhere close to a finished product. He is very much somebody that should make quick improvement in the next year or two. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the Prize Picks app, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball. We got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like. Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. Prize Picks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on Prize Picks so far, so definitely get on over to it, check it out, and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about Team Picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. So, yeah, that's important to note here. Yes, I don't think he'll play very much as a rookie, but I think that he will improve rapidly. He's very explosive, so even though he's not really fast, his explosive movement skills do allow him to overcome that a little bit, especially when you put him in zone. His explosiveness is allowed to kind of take over and allow him to get to places that look like are out of his range. Like the fact that he was able to do long jumps and broad jumps the way, or vert and broad the way that he did at the combine tells you that he's a very explosive mover, and that is actually kind of more important than his long speed because he's going to be a zone corner in the NFL for the most part. So that explosiveness is big. He made massive improvements as a tackler despite facing tougher competition in 2025, which tells you that he has a tremendously high ceiling there and should be very good in that area. Like Bud Clark before him, he is somebody that is willing to read the quarterback's eyes and follow the eyes to go make a play. He's somebody that will trust his instincts and trust what he sees from the quarterback. Now, there's a downside to that, but this is somebody who will go make plays that other players would not. If he ends up being a little too slow for corner play, and I don't think he will be. I think he's every bit as fast as somebody like a Richard Sherman, to be perfectly honest. But you could also move him to safety. He's got the size for it. He can hit hard. He's got the tackling ability. He could be a good safety in this league as well. He lays hard hits when they're set up for him. He's an intimidating presence in the secondary for offenses. You do not want to catch a ball in his vicinity when he's coming up to lay a big hit. He has a receiver background from high school that helps him attack the ball as well. So he actually was a wide receiver in high school, which I think will lend itself well to his ball skills developing even more beyond what we see. And like I said yesterday, even though he's not fast, his speed is actually fine when you look at how big he is. Like this is not a situation where you're looking at Julian Neal and going, well, he's small and he's slow. No, he's really big. He's long. He's lanky. He's lengthy. Having average corner speed that is still, by the way, sub 4.5 is reasonable. Now, there are some issues here, some of the cons that I noted when looking at Julian Neal. He's not really fast in a straight line. He's not really quick to accelerate. If you leave him in man coverage and ask him to cover a lot of ground in that capacity, he will get beat deep. He will eventually allow separation. His ball skills are not bad, but they are flawed. He doesn't get his head around as much as he could. I feel like there's a lot of interceptions he could be making if he gets his head around a little bit faster that right now he's just not making. His ball skills are good, but I think they need to get better if he wants to truly maximize himself. He bites hard on initial indicators like play action or a double move or a misdirection. And if the other team fools him, he will give up big plays, kind of like Bud Clark. So that's something that needs to be coached up. Now, granted, we have plenty of time to coach him up on that. But right now, he is a player that I think can be tricked and will go with what he sees pretty hard. He has segmented hips. So segmented hips create good separation opportunities for receivers because he's not able to make those hip transitions fast enough to really keep up in those moments. So when I look at Julian Neal, I do see somebody that when you're asking him to move a lot, you're going to have problems. He's and this is to me the main thing. This is to me the main thing with Neal. He's not there yet as a reader of offenses and route combos. And that kind of makes sense because he only had one full year starting and one partial year starting in college. So, and only one of those years was at a really credible school at Arkansas. So there is something to be said here about the fact that he's not where he needs to be yet in terms of reading an offense. And that's why he needs, I think, 2026 to sit back, learn, and watch and figure things out without being asked to do a lot on the football field. This isn't a Bud Clark situation. Bud Clark is pretty much ready to go in this capacity. I don't think Neal is. Gotta take some time to get better. This is not really a big con because I want to say again, he moved up in competition level going from Fresno State to Arkansas, but his coverage efficiency in 2025 was much worse than it was in 2024. So you did see some of the negative effects of that move. So something to keep in mind. He has immense potential as a press corner, but right now his technique in press is kind of bad. His timing is bad. Sometimes he uses the wrong hand. And he's definitely a player that when his press is defeated, he's going to give up separation because of his movement skills. So there is something to be said for the fact that he is not there yet. And that is going to have to be something that is a strength of his, I think, because if you look at him, he looks like a press corner. He's not a fluid mover, and we've already kind of covered that, but he's not a fluid mover. Man coverage is probably not in his future. So those movement skills that you might want for an outside corner in some capacity is not there yet. And he has some hesitation in his click and close. That's something that can be coached up, but I think his click and close is a little bit hesitant at times. And he didn't get flagged a lot in college, but in the pros, I think that it's possible that he will be. So, yeah, there is some real potential here for him to be a flag-happy player. Gonna have to clean it up at the next level like most college players, so I'm not worried about it, but be aware of it. All right, so those are my pros and cons. So, good player, good potential, but not necessarily ready to play a lot right now. And we have one more video we're gonna do probably later today, maybe in the early evening. We're gonna do some tape study, and just to go ahead and tease it, we're going to take a look at his game at Memphis last year, which was one of his most notable games of the year, both for good stuff and bad stuff. All right, I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Another couple videos coming later today, I think. And yeah, we're going to finish up our look at Julian Neal, and then we're on to day 3, guys. And those guys should go a little bit quicker, but we will keep on moving. All right, go Hawks.